Hey there folks, another Warhammer Fantasy Batrep. Tonight we're going to have a rematch between the two Chaos armies. I guess vampires might be Chaos, but not really. The Beastmen player who was in our VC versus Beastmen versus Warriors bout, and I wanted a little revenge and really see who's got the best Chaos armies. So we've taken our exact same lists, 2,000 points. And we're going to try a scenario out of the Throne of Tamarkan book called Altar of Battle. And with this one, what it is in the campaign, we're not going to do the full campaign, we're just going to do this scenario out of it. Chaos armies, in our case two, are trying to fight to see who's the biggest badass on the block. And so you're trying to fight for control of it's actually an altar in the thing, but this, whatever the skull thing is going to be here, is going to be what we're going to fight over. And it's not victory points, it's, I guess, objective points or campaign points. So instead of just a flat out, you count how many points you killed. In this case, it's kind of similar to what we did last time, where you get you get 1 point for each unit you kill or make flee off the table. You get a point for each general that you kill. In our case, we each only have one, but this can go up to 6 players. So in our case, you can get 1 point for that, or you get 5 points for controlling the Altar of Throne of Skulls, whatever we want to call it. Now, it's different than the last game, because to control it, you need to have a unit in the center of the hill there and not have an enemy unit within 12 inches. So it's a lot harder to control. It's not just like an objective. But you get 5 points for that. If you happen to be the guy in the center, you get to cast a pretty cool bound spell, although it can come back and bite you, and I will read it here. So, once a side is in control of the Altar of Battle, that side's wizards gain a +1 bonus to all channeling attempts and can summon the Wrath of the Gods on their enemies. This is treated like a bound direct damage spell, power level 5. Select a single point anywhere in the battlefield and place a large template, then roll a d6. On a 2 up, any model under the template suffers a strength 4 hit. On a 1, the enemy player whose unit was targeted gets to place the template instead. So, I mean, that's very chaosy. Chaos gods are fickle. So we're going to give this a shot. I won the roll to go first, which means I have to fully deploy my army, and then my opponent gets to choose which table edge he gets to deploy on. I chose this side. You can deploy up to 8 inches in. So again, I've got my heavy infantry list. I posted I will post the list. I have posted the list earlier on, but I have, just in case you didn't see it, a block of 15 chosen, a block of 23, the chosen are of Tzeentch, 23 warriors of Tzeentch, my Chaos Lord on a Manticore, 2 groups of 5 Chaos Warhounds, and a War Shrine. And my opponent's list will be up there too. He's got a pretty infantry heavy list also. So we're gonna set up and then do some magic. Alright, magic. I rolled up Glittering Robes and Final Transmutation on my level 2 Mark of Tzeentch Lore of Metal Sorcerer. So I don't really have a lot. I guess I have a big offensive spell, and then the defensive one, maybe for something against the Bestigor, which would be nice. And then for my chosen, they got their Eye of the Gods rolled, and they got +1 armor save. So they have a 2-up armor and then a 5-up. I gave them hand weapons and shields, which probably isn't the most optimum build, but they're kind of defensively kitted. And I went ahead, because I deployed first, I got to go first, so I'll just do my quick overview of my movement. Actually, you know what? We're going to go over his spells. And so he chose Lore of the Wild again, and it looks like he got Braze Scream. Is that the one where you get to do the template? Traitorkin, don't know, we'll find out. Mantle of Gorok, is that makes you +d6 attacks, +d6 strength?
Yep.
Alright, oops. And then Savage Dominion, which means he gets to summon something mean, which will probably be the Gorgon, because I saw that he brought the model. So, which is like what he did last time, so we're kind of trying to replicate this. And then for my movement, I set up the table so if people deployed on the short side, they had more terrain to go through, or if they deployed on the long side, they deployed on the long table edge, they had more terrain to go through, which made it tougher to maneuver your units because all of the pillars are impassable terrain. If they deployed on the short table edge further away from the altar, they would have easier movement. Well, I chose the short side because my army doesn't move that fast, but I've still got a bit of a traffic jam in here. So I just moved these, shuffled these guys up. I kept a unit of warhounds back here because he scouted his harpies over, and so he can't get between the warhounds and my war shrine. Just trucked up my 2 infantry blocks closer, and I vanguarded and then did my movement phase at the same time against the fast side of his lines over here. So we are going to go on now to... Oh, and then I flew my Chaos Lord over on the pedestal, and there's no other enemies within 12 inches, so I think I may get 1 round of casting off the mean spell. Of course, it'll probably come back and bite me in the ass. But we shall see. So we're going to go on to the rest of the turn, and we'll see at the bottom of Warrior's turn. Right, end of Warriors of Chaos turn 1. And do you remember me saying how the Chaos Gods are fickle? Well, they were in the magic phase. So we looked in the rules, the way the scenario is set up, and as long as one side is controlling the altar, their wizards get a +1 to channel, and they get to cast the mean spell. So I have the Skull of Katam on my sorcerer, and I decided that so you get to roll a 6 dice to channel, you get a 6, you get more power dice, you roll a 1, you lose leadership. I didn't drop that down to a 5-up, although I should have because I rolled like 3 5s. So I just channeled I channeled the same, but then I threw 4 dice at the spell. It got off. The Beastmen player didn't dispel it. I placed the round template on his gore unit over there. And then I had to roll a d6, and if I rolled a 1, he got to place it on one of my units. And guess what I rolled? Rolled a 1. So after all is said and done, I lost 5 of my Tzeentch warriors. And then the only other thing I accomplished during the magic phase was I got Giver of Gloria from the War Shrine, and both my sorcerer and my BSB got the +1 toughness bonus. And we have no shooting, of course, and there is no combat, so we're on the Beastman turn 2. Alright, end of Beastman turn 1. So my opponent didn't declare any charges, he just kind of shuffled everything up and moved the harpies down here around the corner next to the pillar to do a little bit of march blocking, or attempt to do so. And you can see everything kind of shuffled up here. He's got his fast movers on this side. And then we went to magic, kind of a low roll. I think it was a 4 and a 1, and nobody channeled, and he threw all 5 of his dice at Traitorkin, which made my mount, which happens to be a pretty badass mount, attack my lord. 4 attacks, 1 got through, caused a wound, got through my 3 rerollable, 1 armor save, and so my lord took a wound. And that was it. Shooting, he tried to shoot at, but didn't get anything through. So now we are on to Warriors turn 2. Let's see if we can get a little bit of revenge. So, bottom of Warriors of Chaos turn 2. I declared a charge on these fleeing raiders here. And so they failed the terror test, and they're fleeing 2 inches. I redirected into the Gorbel Minotaur unit, hoping to net that unit. Did the other raiders flee? They were
within range of the
That's right. Okay, so they stayed. That was my only charge. Everything else just kind of shuffled up a little bit closer. Still got the dogs here trying to run interference against the War Shrine. And these guys shuffled up, and I parked my warhounds over here. They're not warhounds, whatever they're called. Maybe they are warhounds. Over here to do a little bit of redirection, hopefully. Magic was a 3 and a 1, so really low. I rolled on Giver of Glory, and both my sorcerer and BSB got +1 toughness. That was the end of the magic phase, no shooting. And then in combat, my lord didn't really do all that well. He's only strength 5 versus toughness 5 on the Gorbel, so I only got 1 wound through. He rolled pretty well in his armor saves. I rolled, I think, about average on my wounding. To hit, I got to reroll. And then the Manticore didn't do much either in the challenge. He decided to accept. So I actually, and then he put all of his attacks against my Manticore and did 2 wounds to it. So I actually lost combat by 1, but stuck. So we're still in the challenge. Hopefully this round I can finish him off. Yeah, I think so. And that's it. So now we're on to Beastmen, bottom of turn 2. Right, end of Warriors of Chaos. No, that was your turn. Bottom of turn 2.
Yes.
Bottom of turn 2, end of Beastmen turn 2. So what did my opponent do? He shuffled up over here. He charged his Harpies into the flank of my Warhounds, and I decided to stay because if I would have fled, I would have fled off the board anyways. I knew it would probably lose the combat. We wanted to go ahead and make him earn it. We'll see how that went. And then things over here, he just shuffled around the pig here, put the raiders over there, moved the chariots around. His Ungor raiders, after fleeing 2 inches last turn, fled 12 inches this turn. And in Magic, he tried to do the Savage Dominion where the Gorgon comes on, and fortunately he didn't. I dispelled that because that's bad news because that can come on any table edge. Shooting, we didn't have. He couldn't shoot because of everything he could have shot at was in combat, and then in combat he won by 4. He won by 4. He did 2 wounds to the Warhounds and then charged to the flank. He won by 4. I had a 1-up rerollable leadership. Obviously failed that. Fled off the board, and they failed their restraint roll and had to flee as well. So they're going to come out back on his next turn. And then in combat over here, what should have happened last turn happened this turn, and I took the last 3 wounds off of the Gore Bull. He lost combat by 3. He didn't have his rank anymore. He doesn't have a banner, so he fled. I failed my frenzy check because of the Manticore, overran and pursued. Unfortunately, I stayed on the table. So that is the end of Beastman turn 2, and my Chaos Lord, for the first time ever, might actually make up his points in this game. We shall see. So on to Warrior Chaos turn. End of Warriors of Chaos turn 3. My movement, I didn't have any charges. I just kind of shuffled these guys up because I've got a lot to worry about on this side. He's got 2 chariots and 2 Razor Gores, which 1 unit of Chosen would be, even with a 2-up armor save from the Eye of the Gods roll, I'm a little worried about taking all those guys on at once. So I'm playing it a little conservatively here. And then my block of Tzeentch Warriors with my BSB and Sorcerer, who is now at Leadership 4. Although the BSB would be okay. I'm worried about taking over those 2 blocks. So I was a little conservative back here, but I turned the Chaos Lord, and I could go after these guys over here, and was really tempted to, because I have the other Trickster Shard, try to snipe out his general. But I figured by going over here I could deal with these guys. If they don't get a long charge off, I should be able to do some terror shenanigans over here. So that was what I did. I had no charges. Magic, it was like 6, it was a 5 and a 1 or a 4 and a 2, I forget. So I just went for it, and I 6 dice Final Transmutation and got, with Irresistible Force, I killed 10 Bestigors. Didn't get anything off on either of his characters in the unit. The General and the BSB are in there. And rolled a 7 and ended up losing 2 warriors. So that's a pretty fair trade-off, I think. And then hopefully next turn he might fail a stupidity test. I hope. I doubt. So that's it. No combat, no shooting. So now we are on to Beastmen turn 3. Right, end of Beastmen turn 3, and I feel like we're not having a very exciting Batrep tonight because there's not a whole lot of combat going on. So, charges, he had none. He shuffled these guys, he shuffled his Bestigor up, his depleted Bestigor unit. They passed their stupidity test. Well, the Bestigor passed their stupidity test, the Gore failed and shambled forward an inch. And Yeah, so he moved up within range of the Bray Scream, which we'll get to in a second, and everything else just kind of shuffled up. He spread his chariots out a little bit. So I have to see if I can do some damage over here with the Chaos Lord. So we went to Magic. Oh, these guys came back on the table and he shuffled them up behind. On to Magic. He rolled a 10, 6 and a 4, right?
9.
Or 9. And he tried to cast... oh, no, he did cast Bray Scream on this unit. That's why he moved the Bestigor up to...
Get in range.
Yeah, to get in range of that. So that's Strength 3 template, Flame template, no armor save.
Right.
I rolled the dice on that, literally and figuratively. I let that one go, and he picked off 2 warriors because I actually took it on both my characters because they're both toughness 5 and have good ward saves. So that was okay. And then he rolled Mantle of Gorok, which is the plus D6 strength, plus D6 attacks, and I tried to dispel that and fell short with all my 6 dice. I was hoping for a double 6. So we got that one through. So his general, right, your wizard, has 4 extra attacks, and he's strength 8 now.
Yes, strength 8.
Yeah. So that's a little daunting for the next turn. So we're going to have to see what we do with that. So and that was essentially it. He tried some shooting over here. He said he was going to kill my Manticore with his Raiders. Didn't quite happen. Maybe next turn. And that's it. So now we're on to Warriors of Chaos turn 4. Okay, end of Warriors 4. Warriors 4. Not the best turn for the Warriors, although we managed to pull it out in the end. So what did I do? Over here, I charged this chariot. This one right here is fleeing away. I redirected into the Raiders, which were right here. Charges here. I was really he got the big spell out, the Mantle of Gorok over here. And I knew I was probably going to get charged in the flank here. But I couldn't back up anymore to get out of charge range, so I figured, at least I get the charge bonus and can do some damage. I've got some pretty tough characters in there, toughness-wise. So I went for the charge there, and then just turned the War Shrine around, so if it gets charged by the Harpies, then won't be a charge in the rear. And these guys kind of stayed still. I wanted to see how this developed over here. So, Magic was a low die roll. I think I got 4, and I threw all of them at Glittering Robes on this unit, and he Dispel Scrolled it. So that was the end of the Magic phase, because I had no dice left. And then in combat, we rolled this one first, and I have never seen such bad rolling out of my warriors. My stud BSB did not get a single wound on the unit. The
Beastmen are just that good.
Wizard, though Beastmen are not that good, just Zinch isn't liking me today. It's because I have a corn-colored unit filler in there. The Sorcerer, I don't think... He might have done 1 wound, possibly, maybe not. Thank God the unit did like 5 or 6 wounds, I think? 5 or 6 wounds? I had my Champion challenge. He accepted with his BSB. Didn't do a wound. I ended up taking a wound, so I lost my Champion. And then he did, I picked him up, 4 or 5 wounds. So I ended up losing, whatever it was, I lost combat by 2. So I was on a 6 rerollable and I stuck, fortunately. Yeah, so hopefully this round, obviously it's a heavily depleted unit. And then over here, the Raiders were all killed to a man, and I overran because I want to get a little closer here. He can choose to charge my... Manticore if he wants, if he really wants to, or if he charges this turn, which I think he's probably going to do, into the flank of my warriors, the champion can, or the lord can go in and do something. So that's it. Not exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought I depleted that unit down enough with Final Transmutation that I'd do a lot more, and I think if the dice would have rolled a little bit more average, I would have done more, but we'll see. So we're now on to Beastmen turn 4. So, end of Beastmen 4, and as my opponent said, this was a turn for the Beastmen. So you can see a big hole over here. He charged his gore block into the flank of my warriors. I knew it was going to happen. I thought I could hold out. I hoped I could hold out. Magic, he did his the Braze Scream, which went off irresistibly, and he killed 2 or 3, I think. Well, just 1. But then he miscast, lost 2 wizard levels. We rolled double 6s for casting, and I thought I was screwed. But then he lost 2 wizard levels and couldn't cast the rest of the turn, so he gave up like 8 power dice, which made me very happy. And then shooting, didn't have any. Combat, movement, he kind of shuffled these guys up here in a conga line near my war shrine, just messing around with it. Shuffled these guys around, he rallied the 1 chariot, that one right there, so he still got a lot of fast guys over here. Pay no attention to the Gorgon over there, it's never coming on the table.
Little Billy gets to watch.
Yeah, that's all I get to do this game. And then we went to combat, and my warriors did a little bit better. I had to declare a challenge, didn't have a champion anymore, didn't get anything through. I think you accepted with your BSB? No, your general. And so we didn't get past his ward save. I really need to get... I should have got my general into combat with that unit faster. I did a fair number of wounds, but just there was too much combat res in the flank. I ended up losing by 6. And failed, so I had it was a 3 rerollable, didn't make it, and he pursued with the smaller unit, the Bestigor unit, and caught me. BSB died anyways. So that's a big, that was a big hit, although expecting them to stand up to that, and his Primal Fury rolls, or he's just kicking some butt. So we're now on to Warriors of Chaos turn 5, and let's go for a little bit of revenge with that guy right there. He's looking for deliver some pain. So, Warriors of Chaos turn 5. I'm good, thanks. Warriors turn 5. So, interesting quandary. So, declared charges. I declared a charge on the Chaos Lord. He chose to flee like a bitch. And I attempted to pursue. He rolled like a 10. And I rolled 19 inches and came up short. So, failed charge. And we did it so it would stop before it hit the unit, because I would just stumble forward, I guess. So hopefully we did that right. So it's an inch away from the gore unit here. Here I turned the I declared a charge with the Chosen over here against that chariot. I wanted to clear it out. Would have been long charge, 9 inches. But he fled. Good bitch again. I'm trying to goad him into something here. So failed charge, went forward like... Actually, I had to complete the charge. I ended up rolling it. I wouldn't have made it, I don't think. I think I only rolled a 3, so I went forward 2 inches. I turned the War Shrine because he's probably going to try to charge it instead of the Lord. So I wanted to make sure I was turned so he'd hit me in the front so I could get all my attacks, and I'm willing to accept the Harpy attacks in the flank. So that's really it. So the points right now, and I have no magic left because my unit disappeared and no shooting and we had no combat. So at the end of my turn, so right now he has 1, 2, 3 points, and I have just 2 units.
Yep. Oh no, you have 3. You just got the Minotaurs.
Yeah, so I got the Minotaurs and both Raiders, right?
Yep.
So we're all tied up going into the bottom of turn 5 with the Beastmen. End of Beastmen turn 5, and game starting to wrap up here. I thought I was in real trouble. So what did my opponent do? Obviously the board looks a little different now, but so he charged the War Shrine, which is here in the flank with the Harpies, and the front with the Gore. He charged over here with 2 Razor Gore and a Tuskgore Chariot, and his general rallied. So he didn't have any magic because you can't cast after you rally. Didn't have any shooting, so we went into combat, and we did this combat here first, and my War Shrine kind of held up really well. It didn't take a single wound, but it lost combat by like 3 or something, and it fled this way. And so he overran with both into the flank and rear of my Chosen, which I thought was pretty much the end for them. So 2 units in the front and the flank in the rear. I think what helped me out though was 4 easy kills at the rear, which got rid of the rear bonus, or the rear charge bonus. I ended up winning by 3, we said, because I did 9 wounds. And I lost the rank bonus, but I had a banner. And he had 1 wound and 3 ranks and a banner, and that was it. So he broke. He locked down by 3 and broke because he doesn't have any high leadership nearby. I tried to pursue with the Chosen, but he rode pretty well for all of his fast movers. And the Gore bounced through. We haven't turned them because the movement terrain won't fit on the hill. Bounced through my Lord. He lost like 3 guys to dangerous terrain checks. And that's it. So that's kind of that's a big deal for my opponent here. We're coming into the last turn now. I think we're going to stay at the last turn. It's getting pretty late. So on to Warriors of Chaos turn 6. We'll see what we're going to do.